As you may or may not know, the rat is considered sacred and symbolizes bounteousness, abundance, intelligence, and the wisdom of the hidden ways that only the rat knows. The goddess Demeter is also associated with fruitful abundance and the generous bounty of nature. But when pushed too far, she can be vengeful, with deadly consequences, as we can see in the sad tale of Erysichthon, the king of Thessaly. Erysichthon was in need of timber to construct additions to his palace, so he led a party of woodmen into the forest, where they found a flourishing grove of oak trees. He ordered the men to cut down the oaks, but they refused, saying these trees are sacred to Demeter, and that each garland wreath that hangs from their branches represents a prayer that the goddess has answered. Erysichthon replied that it was nonsense, that Demeter had more trees than she knows what to do with, and if the prayers have already been answered, then she has no need for flowery arrangements, and he took up his axe and cut down the trees himself. Deaf to the cries of the hamadryad living in its boughs, he felled the trees, their branches, votive wreaths, garlands, hamadryad, and all, and as the oak died, so did the hamadryad, cursing Erysichthon with her last breath. Demeter heard of Erysichthon's sacrilege, and she sent Limos, one of the vile creatures that had flown from Pandora's jar, a demon of famine, the inverse of Demeter. Where Demeter was the fecund and bountiful herald of the harvest, Limos was the mercilessly cruel harbinger of hunger and blight, the two existing in an irreconcilable antimatter relationship of never being able to be in the same place at the same time. Limos was all too happy to deliver the hamadryad's curse on Erysichthon at Demeter's request, and she snuck into his bedroom at night. With sagging, withered breasts, an empty space for a stomach, exposed, rotten bowels, sunken eyes, crusted lips, scaly skin, lank, scurry hair, and swollen pustular ankles. A haunting and dreadful spectacle. She breathed her foul, poisonous breath into his mouth, throat, and lungs, through his veins and into every cell of his body, slid the terrible, insatiable worm of hunger. Erysichthon awoke with a hunger that could not be satisfied. The more he ate, the more ravenous he became. The food inside him caused the hunger to burn ever more fiercely, to where people began calling him Athon behind his back, which means burning. Erysichthon ate himself out of house and home. All of his treasure and possessions, even his palace, were sold off to buy more food. Eventually, he sold his daughter, Mestra. Although this was a ruse, Mestra had been a lover of Poseidon, who gave her the ability to shapeshift at will. Erysichthon would sell his daughter, take the money, and then she would escape by changing into the form of some animal, only to be sold again the next week. Even this clever trick was no match for the burning hunger within Erysichthon, and finally came the day that he chewed off his left hand, then his arm, then the shoulder, then the other, his feet, his legs, and hams, until at long last, King Erysichthon of Thessaly had eaten himself all up. Demeter and the hamadryad were avenged.